Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most debated topics in tech, RAM versus storage. These two components play crucial roles in your device's performance, but they're often misunderstood or confused. In this video, we'll break down the differences between RAM and storage, how each impacts your device's speed and capacity, and what you need to know when choosing between the two. So let's get started and clear up the confusion once and for all. What is RAM? RAM, or random access memory, is a temporary memory your computer uses to store data that is actively being worked on. Think of it as a workspace where data is quickly accessed and processed. When you open an application, it loads into your RAM so that your system can access it quickly. The more RAM you have, the more data your computer can handle at once, making multitasking smoother and improving the performance of resource-intensive applications like video editing or gaming. However, RAM is volatile, meaning it loses all stored data once the computer is powered off.
Still wasting money on ads that get ignored? Let influencers tell your story. Promotional Pact connects your e-com brand to the right niche influencer to reach your target audience. Get more sales with less spent. Link in description.
What is storage? Storage refers to the long-term memory of your system, where all your files, programs, and operating system reside. This includes hard drives, HDDs, or solid-state drives, SSDs, which are non-volatile, meaning they retain data even when the computer is turned off. Storage capacity is what dictates how much data you can save, like photos, videos, documents, or software. The larger the storage capacity, the more files you can keep on your system without worrying about running out of space. Key differences between RAM and storage. One of the main differences between RAM and storage is the speed. RAM is much faster than storage, allowing for quick data access and smoother execution of programs. Storage, especially traditional HDDs, can be much slower in comparison. Modern SSDs have improved the speed of storage significantly, but they still cannot match the speed of RAM. Another significant difference is volatility. As mentioned earlier, RAM is temporary and only holds data as long as the system is on, while storage retains your data indefinitely. How RAM affects performance. The amount of RAM in your system has a direct impact on its ability to handle multiple tasks simultaneously. For instance, if you are running several applications at once or playing a game with high-quality graphics, having more RAM ensures that your system can manage these demands without slowing down. Insufficient RAM can result in slower performance, freezing, or even crashing. For most users, 8 GB to 16 GB of RAM is sufficient for general use, while power users or gamers may require 32 GB or more for intensive tasks. How storage affects performance. While RAM directly affects how fast your system can process data, storage impacts how quickly data can be retrieved and written to disk. Using a faster storage device, like an SSD, can significantly reduce load times for applications, games, and booting up your operating system. If you have a traditional HDD, you may experience slower performance, especially when accessing large files or booting your computer. The amount of storage you need will depend on the type of files you work with. If you're dealing with large video files or high-resolution images, a larger SSD or HDD will be necessary to store all of your data. When to prioritize RAM versus storage. Choosing whether to prioritize RAM or storage depends largely on your specific needs. If you find that your computer is sluggish while multitasking or running memory-heavy applications, upgrading your RAM might make the most sense. On the other hand, if your system is slow when accessing files or booting up, you may benefit more from a storage upgrade, especially if you're using an older HDD. For most users, a balance between both RAM and storage is essential for an optimized experience. Now that you've got a better understanding of RAM versus storage, it's time to make informed decisions for your next tech upgrade. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tech tips and comparisons. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.